Welcome to TruPowur, home of the most powerful marketing tools, training, and technology on planet Earth. Get ready to earn, enjoy, and experience more than you ever dreamed was possible. If you're tired of just getting by and ready to really thrive, then buckle in and listen up. Here's your host, Matt Fox.
Oh, welcome everybody. It is Wednesday, August 18th, and it is a nice stormy day here in Dallas. So hopefully we won't have any issues with power today. We've been having some storms here, so hopefully everything will cooperate for us today. I wanted to take some time today to go over some of the nuances of the platform, and starting with the CRM. There's a lot of people that are new that need a little extra help navigating throughout the CRM and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up to share my screen. So by now, everybody should know where to access the quick launch menu, which allows you to access pretty much everything that you need on a daily basis, excluding your Thunderbird for your email. And so that is a separate software that is actually downloaded on your computer and is not cloud-based. So you open up your Thunderbird, you should be doing all of your communication with support or with customers through your Thunderbird email and your TruPowur email. So if we start right here at the top at the CRM and log in, you will see that I am already pre-logged in. If you have already logged in, it will automatically bring you into the account already. Couple of things. When you go up to your leads, and if you have requested leads from support to be added to your CRM, they will tell you what state they are from. And so when you look at the lead source, just make sure that you're selecting the correct lead source so that you can search, click search filter, and then that will bring up the additional leads that are in your system. But it's pretty straightforward. Click on the first lead. Once you do that, it is going to bring up all of the customer's information. A couple of things to note here is this green button is what will dial the phone number. And so when you do that, and I'm going to go ahead and do that just for a moment, it'll bring up the dialog box. Now, depending on the size of your screen, sometimes you may find that the bottom of this is scrolled off. So if you scroll down, you'll see that there is a place to hang up the call. And if it does go to voicemail, then you have the ability to do a voice drop. So once that goes to voicemail, wait till you hear it actually going to voicemail. You don't want to wait for the beep to do it, but as soon as you know that it's gone to voicemail, click the voicemail drop, and that will go ahead and leave the pre-recorded message. But just so that you know, I've had some people say, well, I can't disconnect the call. You may have to scroll down. I am actually going to see if we can't maybe retarget those buttons up at the top of the screen, make that a little easier for you to see. But otherwise, just simply scroll down and you'll find the buttons just a little bit lower. Once you're done with the call, if you've made a connection other than the voicemail drop, it will come up with the ability to result that call, follow up, what have you. And so what that will do is create additional categories so that when you open up your leads in the morning, you'll see a list of different statuses. So if you have people that you're following up with or people that you've sent out the bill request to, you'll have all of that information available to you right there. So let's go back into the customer lead here one more time. And outside of being able to dial the phone number, you do need to have a valid email address in the account. Once you put that email in there, click save to make sure that it is saved to the system. Once you've done that, then all you really need to do to send a bill request is click the send email icon. It will bring up the email box. From here, select the template. The first one is going to be the utility audit request. It will automatically import all of the information for you and the customer. So really all you need to do is click send. Again, sometimes if you have a very small monitor, this may be off the screen and you may have to scroll down a little bit just to see the send button. So just to kind of give you a heads up there. So I've had people say that they couldn't find the send button. So that is where it's located right here underneath. Now, if you're wanting to send a general email, something that is not necessarily in template form, it will bring up a blank email where you can enter your own message in here. And you can then send that email. So either way, you want to make sure that, you know, when you're done with that, click done, and it will send that off to you. So you do have the ability to send a general email as well as any of the templated emails. If you're finding that you're having issues with that, please let support know. Up at the top, you'll see that there is a help desk. If you're in the CRM, and then you can simply add a ticket, click on add a new ticket. And then from the drop down, select whatever the issue is, if it's about enrollment or anything that you need to address, put in the information as much as possible. Attach any existing files or if there's an error or something that comes up that will help support, direct that issue as much as possible, and then add a ticket. So some of those are going to have certain timetables attached to them. So be patient and we'll make sure that all of that stuff is handled. But other than that, being able to access your leads, if you do have some self-sourced leads, you can certainly add a new lead in here by just clicking new lead, put their information in here. And so if you're making calls to customers, you should be using the CRM, whether it's a self-sourced lead or a customer that is being provided to you by TruPowur, so that the notes and everything are kept within the system. Plus it records all of the calls. And something that is really important to note, because we had a case of this last week where there were some issues with potential fraud. And when I say fraud, that means that we have third-party fraud verification processes that work on the pricing platform that check to make sure that IP addresses are being handled correctly, that issues are not, there's not problems where an agent or a broker is clicking the subscribe link for a residential customer. The customer themselves need to click that link. Do not click that link for the customer. So that's very, very important. That's the quickest way to find yourself in a lawsuit and terminated. So the bigger issue is, the best thing that could happen is you get terminated, but we have to deal with it on an ongoing basis in a legal issue. and potentially losing suppliers. And it takes a long time and a lot of work to get all of the suppliers that we have. And so by making all of the calls through the CRM, it is going to keep an accurate record of what's going on along with the recordings of those calls. So if there are issues in the future, then we can always go back to those recorded calls and verify, yes, that was done. They did speak to the customer. The customer said, yes, I clicked it. And so that really is for your own protection as well as the customers as well. So anyways, feel free to, browse through the rest of the CRM. You've got your calendar so you can kind of keep up with what's going on. If you are not new to the platform, you know that if you've scheduled appointments and things like that with the customer, you'll get an email letting you know what appointments you have the next day. So it keeps you on point to what it is that you have to do each and every day. Over here under documents is really important to familiarize yourself with that. You've got a lot of information here on the utility audit that is very helpful, the solar program, and then some of our training stuff. I think we need to update some of that, but at any rate, this is going to be very helpful for you, keeping track of all of that stuff, as well as there are some videos that can kind of direct you through, some of the methods on how to use the pricing platform. And then there's some marketing materials for different holidays and things like that. But that's the biggest key is in the CRM is making sure that when you're making contact with the customers, use the CRM. That's what it's for. And it protects you and the customer at the same time. So, yeah. So once we have sent out the bill request and the customer responds with a copy of that utility, you can then go to button number 2, which is submit the utility audit. So they can upload it themselves or you can do it. Either way, you'll want to go in here and enter in your name and your email address and use your TruPowur email address, not an off-network email address. And then be sure to enter the customer's contact information, name, title, email, phone number, and then information about that business, the business name, company name, address, phone number, any details that you know about that business. A lot of times if they have a website, you can go to their about page and copy paste a little information from that. Just to give the auditors a little heads up as to the type of business that it is. And then we are obviously opening with the electric. So if you select electric, it is then going to allow you to attach a copy of the bill in a PDF format. And you can upload as many as 20 files, each one being upwards of 1 meg each. That's a pretty large PDF, but there have been occasions where somebody had a file that was extremely large. And if you need to reduce the size of that, then go back over to your quick launch menu. And right up here at the very top, you'll see these PDF tools. If you click on that, it will bring up a plethora of PDF tools that are very handy. And so right here, you can compress that PDF file and reduce the size of that. So, and if you find that the customer sent you a file that had 12 months worth of bills, we don't need all 12 months, we just need the current. And so if it is too large, rather than just compressing the whole thing, maybe you want to split that PDF up so you could go ahead and then just pull out the months that you need. And then that will make the file a lot smaller as well. So that is a very handy tool with the PDF tools. So once we have submitted the utility for audit, then the next thing that we are going to want to do is, unbeknownst to that customer, because we've opened the conversation with the utility audit, we don't want to get into all of the other aspects of what we offer the customer as a form of benefit on the initial phone call, because that will confuse them. It'll just require more questions to be answered. So keep it really simple. But once you have a copy of that bill, then what else can you do? Well, you certainly can transpose that information into the back office in the pricing platform and create a comprehensive report as to what additional savings we can provide them. But before I do that, let's take a look at the front of the platform, which is what most of the public sees. Let me just reduce some of this down here. And so the public sees TruPowur.com. That's typically what most people will see when they go to the website. And if they use the link from your email, it will automatically add the sales code in. If you are coming to TruPowur.com on the front of the platform and all residential deals are done through the front of the platform, then you're going to want to make sure that you enter in your sales code. So once you have done that, you'll see this green bar will appear and it'll say sales code applied. That way you know that anything that you do through the front of the platform will actually go into your pipeline so that you can get paid. So make sure that that is there. Once you've entered it, the system should recognize from that point on that it's you by your IP address. But if you don't see it, just simply go over here and click on add sales code, and then you can add that in there real simple. So anyway, so once you've added the sales code, we do residential, small business, large business, natural gas, and electric for the public through the front of the platform. But for you and I, the only reason we would use the front of the platform is to do residential. And by adding in a zip code, I'll throw in a Illinois area, and it knows that the utility is ComEd, and you get rates. Now, once that is done, it is going to automatically pull up all of the suppliers, the rates, and the terms. You can see that right here, but it doesn't show any savings. And so you do need to put in, you don't need to change the usage because it's on demand. And so the current rate, whatever they're currently paying right now, if they don't know and you need a little assistance, then right over here under button number 5, this gold button, you will see the average electric prices for all of those different areas of the country. And this gets updated on a constant basis. And so if we are looking for Illinois, we are right here. And you can see this is residential. And so if the customer doesn't know, then refer to this list. This will give you a good barometer to start from. So if we put that number in there, 14.24, and hit requote, now it is actually going to show a savings column. And so we want to try and keep that as accurate as possible. If it was 14, I probably might just put it a little bit lower just to be on the safe side, but still, you know, you're looking at the potential of saving $60, $70, $80 a month on a 24-month term. It's a simple process. This is obviously the best rate with Constellation. If you're going to sign up that customer, simply click sign up, and then walk them through the process. Now, this form from state to state is going to look a little bit different. And so in Illinois, it's going to ask for the account number off at the top of the bill. It is right there in the center of the bill as soon as that populates. Come on. Right there at the top of the ComEd bill. So there you have it. So put in the account number, their first, last name, street address where that's not the mailing address, but where they are, the service address, where they're actually getting their electric. If their billing address happens to be different, maybe it goes to a PO box or something like that, you have a place right here to where you can click this button. It'll open up an area where you can change or put in the billing address should it be different. Putting in their landline and mobile number. A lot of people don't have a landline. Then just take and put the mobile number in both phone number locations. And then of course their email address, which is most important, and click next. The system is designed to track the IP address of the individual that is entering this data. So obviously your IP address is not going to match the IP address that belongs to this service address. And so when that happens, it is going to automatically send an email to the customer to where there's a link for them to click to verify the order. So all they need to do is click it. We don't need to do a third-party call or anything like that. It's really simple. They open their email, click the verification link. When I'm talking to a customer, I like for them to do it while I'm on the phone call. So that way it's obviously being recorded because I'm in the CRM. And so when I'm talking to the customer, I'm going to have them click that link, and I usually ask them, says, looks like our system has sent you a verification link. If you'll open your email, click that link and read back the response from my records. Really takes the focus off the fact that they're clicking a link. Sometimes people get a little nervous about clicking things in their email, but when it sounds like you're waiting for a verification number or something like that, then it kind of makes that process a little bit easier. So ask them to click the link and read back the response for your records. When it comes up, it's just going to say, thank you very much for enrolling with Constellation at whatever the price was for the term. And so you're going to know that customer actually did that. Plus, you're going to see in your back office going from pending to signed, and then usually within about a week, the supplier will sign off on it and it will show confirmed in your back office. So, and then it's a commissionable event. So the process here is pretty straightforward. So once you click next, it is going to go to the next page, which is a verification page, just to make sure that the billing address and everything is correct. The system may show you an alternate way of spelling or the way it's laid out. So if you put 123 Main Street and you spelled out street and it's suggesting that it be abbreviated for street, just go ahead and select it as long as everything else is correct and move forward. So once you hit submit, you're done on your part. We don't need a copy of that customer's bill if it's a residential. All they need to do is click the verification link to finish that process. So pretty straightforward, not real complicated. Obviously, you don't make quite as much money doing residential deals, but they are pretty simple, easy, straightforward. And so we want to make sure that we do good quality business, that we do the right things for the customer, but we do it in a way too that is not going to trigger fraud flags and things like that. So make sure that you do not, because anything that goes to the customer, you're going to receive a copy of. So don't assume just because you got the copy that you can click the link for the customer, because the system will pick it up and your account will be canceled and you could be liable. So don't do it. So going back to the utility audit and going into what I call the next phase. And you'll see that on the quick launch menu, we've kind of got a little general sales cycle that helps you kind of follow through on what's next to do. And so we want to enter the customer's electric bill and information into the pricing platform to generate a proposal. So how do we do that? Well, we go right here to the third step, which is the commercial pricing platform. Once you log in, it is going to look something like this on yours. If you, it may look a little bit different. You actually have over here, you can, except for these three columns here, you can adjust everything that you see here so that it looks the way you want it to look. You can actually save that so that you can have different ways of being able to look at that data and sort that data. You can save it and create it. And then, so whichever one you want, when you put a star, whatever star is highlighted here, when you open it up, that's the default it's going to go to. So just kind of a little heads up on that. You're going to have an area for tasks, notifications, and marketing updates. Now, the marketing updates is very valuable. And so when you look at that, you will see some of the market updates that we had for yesterday. And so this is done on a daily basis. So keep watch of that. And especially if you're looking at potentially getting some additional customer added to your CRM, then I would look in here and say, hey, look, wow, it looks like Maryland is really the place to focus on right now because the commercial matrix rates are lower than the utility rates. So that's what I'm going to suggest from support. And so the place that you would do that, go back over here to your quick launch menu, and you'll see a place right here, the orange button, request customers for the CRM and dialer. All you need to do is click that button, fill out the form with your name, email, your 3-digit identifier number, your agent number, and what state you're wanting to work in. So, all right. So we've submitted the utility for audit. And now we're wanting to enter that customer's information from that bill into the back office of the pricing platform. This is for commercial. We only do audits on commercial customers. So once we have a copy of that bill, then we want to come over here to where it says add new customer. And we're going to put in that customer zip code and whatever their usage is. So if they used 500 and let's just say 555,000 kWh annually, and we hit continue, it is going to just send up a reminder to let you know that the utility is ComEd. So if for some reason the system didn't recognize it, it's going to give you a little alert. We know that that is ComEd, so we're okay. Is this a current customer in the platform? In other words, are they already, is this a renewal? Somebody that's already in the TruPowur platform, or is this a new customer to you? If they're already in the system, then say yes. Obviously, this is a new customer, so we would say no. And then you're going to fill out their information. This is going to be the company name. And on commercial, I always like to put all of my commercial company names all in caps, just so that when you're looking in your back office, you can see that all your commercial deals are all in caps on the name of the entity, and your residential stuff is going to be upper and lowercase. And please do it correctly where you put it upper and lowercase. Please don't just put everything all caps or all lowercase, because remember, everything is tied to the system. So their paperwork, billing, everything is going to look however you put it in there. And it would be a little irritating if you got contracts and bills and things like that, and it was misspelled, or it was all lowercase, or something. You don't see things like that. So be conscious to do things correctly the first time, and then you won't have to go back and change it. So then you're going to put in the customer's job title and their street address. That's the service address. You're just going to continue to fill this out. It is going to go to the next page. I'm not going to do it here today, where you're going to put in the locations. And once that's done, it'll let you review it to make sure that everything is correct. So you're going to want to put in their account number, their ESID number. Just basically take all of the information off of the bill and fill it out. If you need assistance, let support or myself know. The auditors are actually under direction that any new agent or broker that submits a utility bill for audit are to let me know, so that I can actually get with you and walk you through this process. So it's not going to be intimidating. It's really pretty simple. Just fill in the blanks off of the bill. So once you have finished doing all of that, then it is going to land at a page like this. So the last step, once you submit everything, it is going to come to the customer landing page. And so you'll see that each one of these has a number on it, and it starts with usually the state and then a number, and that is our internal contract number. So if I ever ask you, or somebody asks you, what is the contract number? It's not the contract number from the supplier, it's our internal contract number, because with that number, we can look up all of the information that is needed for that particular customer. So, and if I wanted to go to this page in the future, all I need to do is find the customer that I want to look at, click on the contract number, and it will pull up their information page. So right here, you've got several tabs across the top. The information page is going to show you everything that you see here today, a little bit about their contract information, what they use, the customer's information, and then of course your information down here. The commission tab is going to show you what your commission is. It may not show immediately until that contract is actually signed and confirmed by the supplier, but you're going to know ahead of any time. And then it is going to let you know what the status is by clicking on status. Notes and attachments is going to actually allow you to see all of the bills and things that you have added to the system or have come from the supplier or the utility in that regard. So at this point, we've uploaded the customer's information to the auditors, and now we've added the customer into the back office of the pricing platform. And so now we're ready to create a proposal. So the way to do that is to go up here to where it says today's rates, click on today's rates. And it is going to bring all of the information in on that customer. And so once you come down here, it is actually going to show you the top 3 best overall plans. I could obviously reduce this customer's price from 7 cents down to 5.562 and save that customer almost $25,000. And in the process, I can make a little extra money as well. Now, you have the ability to do upfront commission or residual commission. On the upfront commission, it is at a base rate. And so in the old days, we used to pay out, or the suppliers used to pay out, to where you would get the first year up front, and then the subsequent months after that would be paid out on a residual basis. That has changed over time. And so really, when you look at upfront, think of annual. When you look at residual, think of monthly. And so if you decide to go with an upfront commission, that means if it is upfront commission, excuse me, if it's upfront commission, it is going to be paid on an annual basis, meaning if it was paid today, then that means every August 18th for the duration of that contract, you're going to get an upfront commission rather than monthly. If you select residual, then you're going to get a monthly residual for the duration of that contract. You make more money. We've actually added additional commissions for those people who want residual income. And so if you select residual income, then you'll make a little bit more, and it does add up. And so we want to, and it also really protects you. So if for some reason that customer was to go out of business 6 months down the road, the last thing you'd want to do is have a $2,000 charge back in this case, because if you were if you were paid up front $4,000 and they went out of business, they broke their contract, you're going to have a charge back of $2,000. Versus if you have a residual, then it's going to be paid out on a monthly basis. And so if they went out in 6 months, no problem. You haven't been prepaid on something that hasn't happened. So you can come down and you can sort all of these potential deals. Right here is your sorting. So you can look at it based on price. You can look at it based on total commission. You can look at it as a savings. And so you'll notice that some of these actually have blue and green. Sometimes you'll see red and orange pricing on here. And that is to let you know that that particular supplier does not have any minimum requirement when it comes to the load factor. And if it's in the blue, then obviously that is within the range on the load factor. But if you see a red rate, then their load factor is actually not going to work with that supplier, so avoid those. So we want to go ahead and create a proposal to send out to the customer. So first thing we want to do is come up here to the top, and you'll see right over here on the right hand side where it says generate a proposal. Now there are other things that you can do here. You can email the customer a link, you can email them the plan, email the plans to the customer, but you gotta remember the customer does not know that this is coming. Now, if this is after you've had a conversation, you need to make some adjustments, then yeah, you've got these buttons to work with. But at this point, the customer has no idea that this proposal is being generated or coming to them. So we're going to want to generate a proposal and select fixed all in. And from here, we're going to want to select the best contracts. And so we're going to stick with 60 months terms. Let's go up here and uncheck some of these. see where we stand with that. And let's go ahead and look at that. So right here, we can see that AP, Green Mountain, NG, I want at least 3 suppliers on that proposal. It's really important. If you only put 1 supplier on the proposal, you've got a 10% chance of closing that customer without a phone call. If you have 3 suppliers on that proposal, you've got a 70% chance of closing that customer without a follow-up phone call. Obviously, in either case, we're going to follow up with that customer, but just explaining how important it is to put 3 suppliers on that proposal. So from here, we've got the 3 suppliers. We're going to click next. Do I want to include a futures chart? Sure, you can make it 1 to 5 years long, and then generate the proposal. Once you click generate, it is going to create a PDF that you'll see momentarily will appear down here in the left-hand corner of my screen as a download, depending on your operating system and your browser. Hopefully you're using a Chrome browser. It may appear up in the upper right-hand corner. But once that is done, it will download the proposal. And I have one that is ready. There you can see it is. Right there is the proposal. And you can see it says proposal.pdf. Well, I have one that I have open already. And so the first thing you're going to want to do, let me go back. First thing you're going to want to do is take and open this in the folder, wherever that is, and just rename this to whatever the company name is. So that way, when you send it to them, it doesn't say proposal. It says the company name that you're actually working with. So let's take a look at the proposal. And so you can see that at the top of the proposal, it's going to have the customer's information, your information, what their total annual usage is, what they're currently paying for electricity. And then it is going to give them a quote comparison fixed all-in table, a bid summary, and 12-month budget analysis. So if you come down, it is going to look at the best different suppliers for fixed all-in, what those rates are, and what the total savings is based on the best rate. And so the best rate obviously is Green Mountain at 4.39. So it's using that number, but using these as comparison. So here you can see that this is going to save the customer 37%, saving them $22,000 a year, or $91,000 over the term of that contract. And this particular one, when I did it, was a 48-month term. So that's a pretty significant amount of savings. And then when you look at their 12-month budget analysis, it's going to show actually the monthly supply spending and the monthly total spending. So they're used to looking at their bills, and they're going to see that these numbers based on their usage of the prior year is going to actually analyze and create a budget to let them know exactly what their bills will look like moving forward for the next 12 months. So they'll be able to compare that very easily. And then lastly, you'll see that we have the graph and charts on there. You don't have to include it. If you find it valuable and necessary, then go ahead. Obviously, if we were in this area at the time when this was being done, then they can see that, or over here, that the market is scheduled to just keep climbing. So we need to renew that contract as quickly as possible. So from here, we're going to want to email this to the customer, right? So I like to email that, rename the file, email it to the customer along with a note that just says, give me a call when you get that. So when you go into your CRM and you are getting ready to email that customer, then you're going to want to select their email, select a general email, you know, and then attach a copy of the bill. So once you do that and send it, now you know that the system is designed to show you a pop-up as soon as that customer is looking at that email. So whether they call you or not, you know they're looking at that proposal. And so that's the best time to call them and ask them, have you had a chance to take a look at that email I sent you? Well, I'm actually looking at it right now. So that's when you go over the numbers and let them know. But once I have sent that email to the customer, then I want to immediately follow up with a phone call. So we've uploaded it to the auditors, right? So going down the list, we have contacted the customer through the CRM. We have received a copy of the utility bill. We have uploaded it to the auditors. And now we have created the proposal and emailed it to the customer. And now we want to quickly follow up with a phone call to let that customer know that we've received a copy of their phone bill, safe and sound. I mean, their phone bill. We have received a copy of their electric bill, safe and sound, that the auditors are already underway. In fact, in the initial investigation, we also uncovered some additional savings in their electric account. I emailed you some information. When you have a chance, take a look at that. Give me a call. We'll go over the details. Now, obviously, when they see it, if it says proposal, it feels like I'm being sold. But if the file is in the name of my company name, I'm more apt to want to open that to see what it is that you sent to me. When I look at it and I see the value point in that I have an opportunity to save additional money, then my conversation with you is going to be, this is fantastic, but what do I have to do to make this happen? Because it doesn't tell you how, it just tells you how much. So that's the best conversation you can have with a customer, because at this point, then really it's about letting that customer, well, the how is not so important as much as when do you want that savings to start? Well, nobody wants savings to start later. They always want it now. So what do you need to do? You're going to go back into the back office and you're going to click the corresponding button. So if it was, let's say if it was this one with NG, then I'm not going to do it because this has actually got information in the platform, but all you're going to do is click sign up. The system is going to pull the contract for that supplier for that state and fill it out for you so there's no human error, and it will send it to the customer for an electronic signature. That customer just simply needs to click and open that, type in their name, hit enter. It will come back and attach itself right back to the platform, and this will go from request to signed. And once the supplier has signed off on that paperwork, then it'll go from signed to completed, and the deal is done. And guess what? We still have the audit underway, right? And so that's when I want to, after the ink is dry on the electric deal, then I want to go back to that customer and let them know that I see that there are actually some additional cost centers, cost centers, that have the potential to increase the amount of their refund. What do you mean? Well, as you know, we have the audit underway for your electric account. Let me ask you, do you use natural gas? No. How about water and sewer? Absolutely. Waste removal, dumpsters, that kind of thing? Yeah. Telecom, wireless, shipping, freight, financing, cost segregation. Any or all of these additional cost centers have the potential to increase the amount of the refund. So go through the list, discuss that with them. If they need more information, there is obviously a lot more information under the documents in your CRM. So if you need to email them, you can certainly find something that correlates with that. If you need additional information, let me know, or support, and we will try and do the best to get you exactly what you need to make that happen. So one of the last things that I want to talk about on that is being aware of what the minimum spend checklist is, so that you are not uploading bills to auditors that don't meet the criteria. So on the energy side, we need at least one energy invoice, gas and or electric, and a copy of the energy supply contract when applicable. Very rarely do you need that, so I wouldn't worry about it. If you need it, the auditors will let you know. But the most important thing is that that bill for the gas and electric needs to be a $10,000 a month spend per facility. And so that can be a combination of the two, but it needs to be $10,000. So what do you do when the customer sends you a copy of their utility bill and it is under $10,000? Well, you don't upload it to the auditors, but you definitely go into the back office and transpose that information into the pricing platform and find out what additional information or what additional savings we can provide that customer at the supplier level. So you're not done with it. We want to take care of the big guys, the little guys, and everything else along the way. Now, just because they don't meet the criteria or the spend on the electric does not mean that they won't on some of the other cost centers. So don't throw up any red flags. Just move forward as if you had sent that up to the auditors, and then go ahead and do the back office pricing to create the proposal. And then once that's done, then go back to the customer when we're going to look at the additional cost centers and see what other areas and what other cost centers that they have available and that meet the spend criteria. So it's not real difficult. It's just a matter of taking it step by step and walking through that process. And so if you need assistance with that, I'm more than happy to assist you with that. You know, just go in there and make it happen, really. So that is really what I wanted to kind of go over here today, and walking through this general sales cycle. And it's listed down here. You've got it on your onboarding. You've gotten it several times in other trainings. And the sales cycle and phases are listed here on your quick launch menu. So, all right, well, it was a good day of training. I'm glad everybody got value out of it. This recording will be posted so that you can go back over it at a later time. Want to wish everybody a great week. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.